Just want to make sure that as you start your Excel lab, you know some of the things about Excel. That way you're not spending hours on here searching around. Excel is a great thing for you to learn how to use if you're going to get into science because it is a huge time saver on processing data if you know some tricks of the trade. And I'm going to teach that to you. So for your activity, you'll see a hard copy of the lab in there. You'll need to follow that, use it as your setup, things like that. And then you'll also see these directions. And then you'll also see a Google assignment, which is where you're going to get a sheet that's missing some of this stuff, but for you to fill in and submit back to me. Okay, real quick, looking at it, make sure you kind of set it up just like it is on your paper. It'll save you time. Okay, but when making a chart, you just kind of drag, and it's usually always the y axis versus the x, or excuse me, x versus the y. All right, and when you do that, you insert chart, and mine defaults to scatter. But if not, you can change that chart type. You should look around in here and get familiar with these buttons, everything like that. But for our purposes, and some of it's going to be covered up by my head down here in the corner. But chart style, if you needed to change the background, all that kind of stuff, which for the most part you really don't need. Axes titles, if you needed to change those, anything like that. But we're going to kind of look at series because this is more of the upper level kind of stuff right here. So left axis, so it's talking about the stretch side here. All right, we need to be able to put in error bars. Okay, now when we don't know, okay, it's going to default to percent at 10%. Okay, but we need to go to a constant. Okay, constant. And what we're going to do is we're going to set it. We are looking at this thing right here. And our scale is going up by ones. If you look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, if we look at that, we need to say that when we don't specifically know the error given to us, if it's not written on the actual measurement tool that we're using, okay, if it's not on the actual measurement tool that we're using, then we need to make sure that we change it to plus or minus 0.5 past the last known value. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, what that means is the difference would be 1.5 or 0.5. So we're going to put in 0.5, okay? And if you notice, it's going to give you that error bar right there in that way, in that kind of side, okay? That's the left axis. Now we can go up here and go to the right axis, okay? And it flips it, which really doesn't serve us any purpose. So we tend to just stay on the left axis, okay? Now we always want to make sure we add a trend line, okay? Remember from your other notes, that trend line should exist within those error bars, which it does. And then we always want to add an R-squared value. Okay, this is pretty dang linear. Okay, now feel free to look through some of this other stuff and make sure that you are messing around with that. Now, when you do your lab for purposes of this class, all you need to do is shrink this bad boy down, okay, and let it exist, okay, below this data. And if you notice from your lab, this is going to be the y equals k times x graph. Okay, and there you go. And that's what I need to see for the first one. Then you'll look at the bottom of the lab, and it's going to talk to you about how to save yourself time calculating things. Well, for the sum, it wants you to take the sum of each column and the average of each column. This is where Excel can really help you. You push equal, and then you're going to type in sum, okay? And then what you do is you literally click the first one that you want. Oh, sorry. You do a parenthesis, okay? Click the first one that you want. And then all you have to do then is when you click that first one, then all you do, oh my goodness, all you do is drag down. And what it is going to do is it's going to add up everything in that column. You're going to close the parenthesis and you're going to click enter. There you go. That is the sum of that. Now, that doesn't seem like much right now, but when this is 500 pieces of data, that's going to save you a lot of time. Again, for this sum, all you got to do is push the equal sign, and it'll pop up sometimes like this, but just so you get in the way of doing it, sum, parenthesis, hit that first one, drag down, close that parenthesis, and press enter. There you go. There's the sum of everything there. How about averages? Those are important. Averages, AV, uh, AVG, okay? We're going to open that parenthesis. We're going to click that top one. We're going to drag down. We're going to close that parenthesis, and we're going to hit enter. Oh my goodness, what is happening right now? Sorry. Well, they've changed it to average now. Interesting. Okay, there we go. And now we close that parenthesis, and there we go. There's the average of that guy right there. Okay, let's do the average of this one equals, and that's the hard part, guys and gals, is every time I feel like we do something like that, we drag it down. There it goes. It's already knowing what we want to do. And there we go. So every time you do something with technology, the next year they update it and change it. Hopefully this helps you out. Hopefully this helps you learn some things about Excel. As you can see, once you know the basics, you can reteach yourself every year as they change things. But until next time, we'll talk to you later. Tima out.